welcome to the last. For today, I've got another pre-record to do tomorrow on a really interesting topic, but the last for today of, I think we've done this 13 so far of these little conversations, which have all been just a delight to be part of this Sue Atkins book club and meet these wonderful authors and put them all together as part of Independent Thinking's first ever, who knows, maybe last, online children's book festival. And we're recording them all and we'll put them all online so people can have them as just a great CPD for teachers and educators going forward, great for parents as well. I don't know about saving the best to last, but saving a really, really interesting one to last. It threw me, this book, How to Be a Front Runner, Mental Fitness for 11 Plus Pupils by Alan Beggs. And we're joined by Alan now, Dr. Alan Beggs. And I'll tell you why it threw me, is because I was thinking it's going to be a book for the Buckinghamshire crew, those with 11 plus, those who are just sort of trying to give their children the age, or those in Ireland who have to deal with 11 plus still, or Kent maybe. And then when I read it, actually, it's great for if you're doing the 11 plus, but we could just get rid of the 11 plus because it is so packed full of just wonderful, useful, powerful strategies for bringing out the best in anybody, whether that's a child going to an exam or even the adults, the parents reading it as well. So it's a delight to read. So don't let the 11 plus bit put you off. If you're involved with 11 plus, grab it, but don't let the 11 plus put you off, because it's one of the best books I've read that just help children get the best out of themselves. That's my interpretation of it, Alan. I hope that makes sense. So welcome to this book festival. Tell us a little bit about your background, what you do, where you're from, what you do, how that all sort of fits together, and how you came to be writing this thing.
Wow. Well, thank you for that endorsement. I really appreciate that. And I know that's true. Let me tell you a little bit about me. I've had a very long and interesting career. I was an academic psychologist for 25 years. Got about 50 publications to my name. I've written a couple of books, all very technical and, academic. And I ended up working in a research capacity. I was a senior research fellow, working in a research capacity with a group of people who were interested in helping blind people. Nothing to do with 11 plus yet. But if you lose your sight, you'll have a visit from local authority person who will recommend that you learn how to use a long stick. You may have seen people walking along, waving a long stick. It helps to avoid lampposts and things like that. So the training that the local authority were giving people who'd lost their sight was basically technically how to hold the damn thing. And actually, that's got very little to do with losing your sight. If you want to know what it's like to not be able to go out and without sight, go and stand at a pedestrian crossing and see if you can cross the road with your eyes closed. It scares the bejesus out of you. And that's really the problem. And they hadn't figured this out. They thought it was a technical issue about how you hold this and wave it around. So I thought, maybe it's a little bit more psychological. And of course it was. And I started working on how you could help people who've lost their sight become more confident. And then there was a knock on the door one day, and a guy turns up and he said, my name's, I can't remember his bloody name, whatever his name was. He said, I'm from the Royal Yachting Association. Would you like to be our sports psychologist? And I was about the third sports psychologist in Britain. The Royal Yachting Association was very ahead of itself. So I started working with them, and there was a great deal of confusion about where I fitted in. However, I did fit in, and once it started to work and people realized, might be a good idea to have a quick word with Alan behind the bike shed, see if we can, do better than our chums. So I became quite popular, and it was very, very effective. I'll give you a quickie. For years and years, Britain's sailors would win a medal at the Olympic Games. I gave up in the year 2000 on that particular job. And on that year, we won 7 medals, which was 25% of the medals that Britain won. And that was almost certainly down to the sports psychology. So I left that job and went back to my whatever I was doing. And my son, who has just graduated, he was doing 11 plus, and he was getting very stressed about it. And I said, I've got a few ideas I could use to help you. And he did them. And he found them helpful and useful. And he got his chums to do them, and they found them helpful and useful. And there it stayed. And I thought it might be a good idea to jot these things down before I forget them. So over a period, I managed to get them down on paper. And bear in mind that he was then 10 and he's now 24 nearly. It's taken a bit of time to get them onto paper. And what the book contains is a lot of the good ideas which sports psychologists use, plus a lot of the good ideas which we now call positive psychology. That's in there as well. And you're absolutely right, Ian. There are things all of us could use.
Yeah, they're so powerful. I'd forgotten, you used the term quite early on, the inner game, and I'd forgotten how influential on me. I'm a great sportsman, but in terms of my understanding of helping other people get the best out of themselves, a book called The Inner Game of Tennis.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I think that was one of the first books that helped people realize that playing a sport wasn't just, like you said, with the stick and the blind people, a technical issue. You've got to be technically competent, but there's something else going on as well that separates the gold medal winners from those who
exactly. Yeah. I know the man who wrote that very well.
Tim someone other, is it?
Sorry?
Tim someone other.
Tim Galway.
There you go.
Yeah. And I worked with Tim Galway's colleague in this country, and he and I introduced coaching to business.
Ah, wow. Okay. Well, and I thought the rest is history and all that.
Yeah, and ancient history, because I'm long gone from that and don't do any of that.
The inner game of exam success, or the inner game of, it's
yeah, absolutely.
That's what's going on there. So what is the secret of an inner game?
It's I've written many similar books, none of which have got published. One of them was called Get Your Head in Gear, and it's really about making sure you're thinking correctly and you're doing the right sort of thing. It's a bit like, you've probably seen these adverts for slimming, with an outfit called Noom or something, and it's about it's not about willpower, it's about brain power, and they're basically using inner game techniques to help you to lose weight. So it's about making sure you're thinking the right sort of thoughts.
Okay, so give us an example of an inner game tip.
Inner game tip. Well, it's probably easiest if I read it from the book, and then you can all do it.
Yeah, go for it.
Because it's really good. Oh, I'm just watching my wife carrying the bin down to the end of the drive.
The inner game of being a husband.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let me just pull it up so I can see it. Okay, so this is about. The book is actually in 3 sections, funnily enough. Ready, get, set, go. And getting ready is about getting yourself organized to do the work. Getting set is about building your confidence, amongst other things. And here's an exercise which is in the book, which I will read verbatim. And it's about how to discover your strengths. First of all, think of 3 things you've done that you're proud of. Don't be shy. This isn't about boasting. You may need to get help from your tutor or parent and think about these things together. You're looking for moments in your life where you've done something really well. Might be something to do with school, a sport you enjoy, or maybe a play or concert you were a part of. Maybe you were a great friend to someone who needed you. Could even be overcoming an illness or a disability, or coping with a loss of some kind. Once you've got 3, write them down on the next page, because this book is actually interactive. It's not just something to read. You've got to do things. You've got to answer questions and make notes and things like that. So there's a space on.
And I'll flash the book up to people. What page are you on at the moment?
That's page 15.
Okay, I'll flash it up so people can see it. There we go. So you can see the page where you can sort of fill it in, so it becomes your own sort of journal, if you like.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then the next step is ask yourself, what was it about you that made you able to achieve all of this? In other words, what are your special qualities and strengths that you used to help you meet these challenges successfully? You're aiming to come up with words like determined, focused, calm, loyal, clever, knowledgeable, never gives up, and so on. You need to find 3 self-descriptive words for each of these 3 areas, but do not be tempted to use any of my words. Find your own if you can. And then you write them on the next page. And then after that, when you've got 9 or 10, put them in order of importance for you. The only rule is whatever comes from thinking like this will be right. It's your list, not anyone else's. And then type it up and stick it on the wardrobe door and look at it each morning. So you might have something like, I am calm, focused, determined, loyal, clever, and so on and so on. Stick it up on the wardrobe door and remind yourself what an awesome person you are. And what happens then is quite magical. Without learning it, just by being aware of it, you'll begin to feel good about yourself, more powerful and more confident. This is all because you've made yourself remember some positive beliefs about yourself. The old negative ones, which can act like a ball and chain, fade away. And now you know how awesome you really are. You'll be better able to face the stresses and challenges of all the work you've got to do and the examination on the day. So that's an example of, hang on, I'm going to try and get you back. Here we are. Oh no, oh my God. Wish I could use computers properly. There we go.
Maybe your wife can help when she's finished putting the bins out.
Yeah. So that's a typical example of the kind of thing that you do. You get your thoughts organized, you begin to change your beliefs about yourself and so on. And the book is full of hints and tips which are like that.
Yeah. And just so simple, so empowering.
Simple, trivial.
And they're pinning it up on the wall or on the wardrobe or on the mirror when you're brushing your teeth, all those sorts of things. I mean, it's not rocket science, but it is. It's
not rocket science.
Behind it.
I know my son Charlie was quite blown away by that, because he had a wonderful list, and he was only 10, but he could do it. And he had this list of, and I looked at it, I thought, wow, that's my son. Oh.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Yes, of course, of course.
And you talk at one point about failure. This is something that children seem to sort of get so het up on, this idea that I must be successful all the time, that failure is a bad thing. Yeah. But that you're in a game is going to address failure and reframe it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one way of doing it, by making sure that in the front of your mind is all the successes and how absolutely fabulous you are, rather than all the failures and how dreadful that ill is.
And these were the sorts of things you would do with the Royal Yachting Association.
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah. And the language that's used as well. You spend quite a bit of time unpicking I think you call it the inner parent.
Oh, yes.
That said, and just again, the little tweaks that you can change, that you don't get into an argument with the parent, and you do highlight the fact that parents they might be doing it wrong, but they're doing it for the right reasons.
Yes.
You can use the language. So just share us some of the inner parent stuff that you covered.
Well, the inner parent stuff is the should, must, and have to. Parents will say you should tidy up before you go out, and you must do your homework before you have to work hard to pass this exam, and that's quite stressful if you're on the receiving end of it. What happens is, of course, that as a child you echo what you've heard them telling you, and you play it to yourself, and you make yourself stressed. And you don't need to do that. You can change what it is that you're going to do. And when it says you have to be able to do your 28 times tables, and you simply change that and stop telling yourself that. And the way you
what language? I think you suggest different language that you can use in that.
Yes, here's another tip for diminishing audience. Here's another tip. It's your voice, and you simply tell it to stop. You think of the word stop. So when you hear these things getting you stressed, you quietly tell yourself the word stop. And you can write your word stop down. I know where my word stop is. It's actually in big letters on the top of a building in Germany for some reason. Once when I was in Germany, I saw an advert, and right up on the top was the name or whatever it was on the top of this. It was very noticeable, and that's where my stop word is. So I look up and I go, all right, forget all that.
It interrupts that.
Interrupts that. Yeah.
And I remember somebody saying years ago, change I have to I get to.
Yes.
I have to do these exams. I get to do these exams. It's just that one little word changes all sorts of things.
Absolutely. Yeah. A single word change can do it.
The word yet, which I've taught the teachers and kids for years. And it probably came from my reading, I don't know, the game of tennis. I'm not sure where it came from, but it's just such a simple thing. I can't do this yet. Changes everything.
Yeah.
You end with, and again, it surprised me, the use your strawberry.
Oh, yes. Have you come across that before?
I'd never come across that. I was wondering where this story was going, and it doesn't go anywhere, but yet it does. And it's sort of, wow, okay, I get that now. So just want to, spoiler alert and all that. Do you want to just sort of, without reading the whole story, but just sort of sum up?
I won't read it out. I'll tell you what the story is. Yeah. In a nutshell, this chap's walking through the jungle. Don't know why he wanted the jungle, but he realizes he's being chased by tigers, and he has to run, and it's not easy, and he trips and falls and begins to slip down a steep slope. Tigers go, oh, stuff that, we're out of here, and he keeps sliding down the slope, and then he sees there's a river at the bottom, so that's good. That'll be fine. I'll break his fall. However, the river has got crocodiles. So he thinks, I better stop here. He grabs a bush, pulls himself up into the bush on the slope and sits in the bush thinking, now what? Oh, not very good. There's tigers up there and there's crocs down there. What am I going to do? And he looks over to the left, and there's a little hole in the bank. And out of the little hole comes a mouse. And the mouse comes across and starts nibbling the roots of his bush, which is beginning to tear out of the bank. This isn't good. So he looks over the other side, and there's a wild strawberry plant. I don't know if you've got a wild strawberry plant in your garden, but the strawberries are only about, half an inch. But by God, they're good. So he picks up wild strawberry, pops it in his mouth, and goes, oh, that's gorgeous. Now, what you need when you're in a deep doo-doos is your own strawberry.
End of story.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your strawberry is something that makes you go, oh. I'll tell you what mine is, and you may want to think of something completely different. Could be somewhere you've been, something you've done. Mine's my son Charlie, at about the age of 3 or 4, coming out of his bedroom, carrying his teddy bear under his arm, and coming in and waking us up. And I just go, oh.
That's your strawberry.
That's my
go-to pleasure.
Yes.
It interrupts all the challenges, all the threats.
Yeah.
Stress.
That's all irrelevant.
Yeah. No, I love that. I hadn't come across that story before. Wow, that went quick. I love it. I could listen to you all day. Is that a West Country accent I can sort of hear?
No, it's Belfast.
It's Belfast.
Yeah, I used to speak like this. But I don't anymore. I've been in England a long time.
I can hear an accent. This book, How to Be a Front Runner, Dr. Alan Beggs. Mental fitness for 11 plus pupils, mental fitness for pupils, mental fitness for all of us. It's
Yes,
so
indeed.
much good stuff in there. I really do recommend it. We did the deal with the Roving Bookshop, so I think you can sort of get the book through them. Check out their website. I link to our website. Do you have a website of your own, Alan? How might people?
No, I didn't. I did do, but I've closed it down because I've not been doing very much business.
Okay.
But
Well, we had the conversation about whether you're on Twitter or not, and you weren't entirely sure, so maybe we won't go there. So,
I'm on Facebook.
Are you people Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how people can get hold of you if they want
Yeah.
to. And you've written other books as well. So
Yes, I have. Yeah, and I've right now I'm in the business of turning this one into an Audible app.
Very good.
So for children who like to, have gizmos, they can listen to it and then they can write the things down on their own.
So they can have Alan in their ear, the inner game in their inner ears. I like that word. It's lovely to speak to you. Thank you for being the very last person on our amazing extravaganza that we've had today. Thank you to Nina, Nat Jackson, who's been lurking in the background through all of these, recording them and then making everybody happy and putting the tweets out and everything. It's been a blast. I'm off for a gin and tonic and trying to make sure nobody tells me the result of any football matches before I get home. Alan, lovely to speak to you.
Yeah, and you, Ian. And bye, everybody. Thanks very much.